NASCAR decision. You know those owners were a part of that decision as well. Interesting to say the least, but I just don't, they'll have these cars dialed in. Same principle applies at Talladega. They'll be fine.
So Larry, is it a matter of keeping miles off the engine or keeping heat cycles off it, or both?
Well, I think it's miles, but one thing I know some teams did, they went ahead and elected, Mike, since they've already put the 150 mile in the dual race, a lot of these teams went ahead and put fresh valve springs. I know Denny Hamlin, the 11 car, they put fresh valve springs. They're going to make a few laps today, but Denny told me if he's happy with his car today, they will not run that 11 car tomorrow.
A good point. And to expand on that, the teams can no longer change engines between the dual race and Sunday's 500. It's one engine for the entire week.
And Larry, I like that call. I DNF'd this race one time because of an old valve spring broke. Ruined my day, the big dance on the Daytona 500. Man, it was a heartbreaker. So I can understand that. I like what I see here with the Chevrolet camp, all working together, lined up. See Eric Jones there running third. Guns N' Roses on that car. You got to love that paint scheme, Mike.
Absolutely. We're going to have a little fun with that.
That's my
during
favorite.
Sunday's 500.
By the way, my favorite, #1 for the week.
Kyle Larson goes to the top of the board, partly because he is leading this single file train, but also because on that last lap, he caught the sniff of a draft off Bubba Wallace running by himself.
That's really ultimately why that was. It always amazes me. You would think, all right, we got 4, 5, 6, 8 cars in a line. You would always think they're going to push that leader to be the faster one. A lot of times it's one of the last ones in the train that ended up being the fastest lap.
Side now.
Working on, again,
Outside.
like we talked about, balance. Talked to Kyle Larson, asked him what he was working on. He said, man, I was a little bit tired off the floor, didn't like that. Cliff Daniels and boys are going to try to make that a little bit better, and that's how you find out. Put that thing in a pack, make sure that it's not that way for tomorrow or Sunday.
Now, the first car to return to the garage was Zane Smith, who went out on track but did not complete a lap. Pulled back in.
Tight quarter front. On in front now. All on.
You know, some of the speed versus handling characteristics with these cars is what you see right there inside that car. This thing's still pretty rigid. Riding around with Ross Chastain on board with him, you can see that car's bouncing, you know, still pretty good. That's the ride in the shocks, the spring package, still pretty. You want to keep that car as consistent as you can. That's the airflow underneath the car. That's the grip and the speed as well, the drag. So trying to hold that car as consistent to the gap in between the car and the track as you possibly can. How do you do that? You run it as rigid as you can. Can't go too rigid because that's grip.
Let's check with Josh Sims.
And let's get an update on the 14 of Chase Briscoe. They waited initially and then went out for practice with the team. And if you watched duel number 2 last night, you saw Briscoe had speed, but the problem for him was he was extremely loose when he was running with the pack. At one point last night, he said he felt like he had to pull out of line or else he was going to wreck. So I talked to his crew chief, Jenny Klossmeyer, earlier today, and they said they really need to work on that. So when they go out, they'll see how he runs in the pack during practice and continue to work on that car throughout the night so they're good for Sunday.
Thanks, Josh. Alex Bowman, pole sitter. Jimmy Johnson, 2-time winner, same digits, one the reverse of the other.
That's pretty
side
good
by
to see.
side.